everybody? We're back with the season ticket. I'm one of your co-hosts, Andrew, and this is your other co-host, Jibril. And this is a special football episode for the Super Bowl. And again, this is the season ticket, your home team every day.
Let's get it.
It's Super Bowl time. Super excited.
59, right? 59?
Yeah, I think so. Huge Chiefs fan over here with the Pacheco jersey. So expect a little bit of bias, but we have Jibril here to hold me accountable. Reel me in when I get a little too far on the deep end. But, they got a gold chain now that's the Chiefs. It's a Chiefs pennant, but it's got the St. Louis arch on it from gold. I actually want to pick that up pretty badly.
Is it official for the Chiefs?
Yeah, it's official. Yeah.
So they're trying to draw our fan base in, right?
Yeah, Missouri's team. Yeah. You guys are Super Bowl winners too.
It's hard, because I came up on the 99 Rams.
Mm-hmm.
I literally started watching football. I think the 96, 97 Super Bowl was the first football game I sat down and watched with my uncle. When the Packers beat the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And so that was like me getting into football. And then a couple years later, the Rams win, of course, here in St. Louis. So it was tough when they left,
That had to hurt.
Don't know how to feel about it, really. So I'm kind of without a team. So I don't know. I like good football, though. So
Well, you're always welcome over on this side. Similar story though, actually. So my grandfather's a huge Chiefs fan. My dad actually took me to my first Chiefs game. I think I was like 4. Me, my dad, and then one of my dad's best friends, essentially a godfather to me. They took me and my best friend, actually best man at the wedding, Davey. They took us to the game when we were like probably 4 and 5. One of the worst floods in Kansas City history. Our mothers were furious. The game, I think, got canceled midway through because the storm was so bad. But that was my first Chiefs game. Diehard fan. My favorite season still, the 2003 season. I think Priest Holmes had a touchdown record. Dante Hall went crazy. I have an autographed Xbox Dante Hall game. Like, it was a first-party Xbox football game. It was autographed by Dante Hall because I answered some questions at like a Best Buy or something. So huge fan. Also have a Naruto jacket signed by Jared Allen of all things. He signed my Naruto jacket and he signed my PlayStation Portable. That's all I had on my hands.
They got tickets. He's a super fan.
Hey, my grandparents actually had season tickets to the Chiefs, the Royals, and the Kansas City Kings back when the basketball team was here.
Nice.
So,
all right, man.
How you feeling? This is a big one. We got 2 black quarterbacks. To me, that's the craziest thing. We have. I was reading about it. Almost half the league starts a black quarterback at this point. I think about half of the highest paid quarterbacks are black. You've got all 3 of the final 4 quarterbacks were black. It's a changing, evolving game. Unfortunately, we aren't seeing that same numbers reflected in coaching right now. I think that's the one downside for head coaches, at least. But this is the second time in NFL history that there are 2 black quarterbacks playing against each other. And ironically enough, the first time was when they were playing against each other 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's huge. Of course, this time around, I think the matchup is even more intriguing.
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. This time around, I mean, you got the Chiefs obviously going for the 3-peat, but then on the field, both teams got good skill players. Both teams got amazing players. backfield, a halfback, a quarterback. Personally, I think it's going to. Well, we get down to the keys, but you got so many things going on, like the on-field matchups, and like you said, second time, two black quarterbacks going up against each other in the Super Bowl. Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this Super Bowl. Even though, I mean, they were saying, I think in the conference championship round that this would be one. Well, they did a poll, and they figured some people may be sick of this one, but I'm into the rematch.
Yeah. I was personally hoping the
Yeah,
Commanders would be playing just for Jan
that
Daniels to
would
be
be
the first rookie to ever play in the Super Bowl. First rookie quarterback. To me that would have been super cool. But Hurts has been through a lot. I think Hurts is one of the most intriguing stories. You're talking about a guy who was a national champion college football player who then lost his job, I think right around that time to Tua. Kind of just
well,
became.
yeah. I was gonna say it was in the championship.
Mm,
I believe he came in the second half or something like that. But yeah, very like what you were saying. And I would know because he's on the Crimson Tide. But
mm-hmm.
I think you're just a winner on all levels. High school level, I think he won a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
College, all he did
Yeah.
was win. Yep.
And then bounce back. After that they put him with Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley reclaimed him and came back out. He wasn't the same prospect that he used to be. I think he fell into he was a later not a late round pick, but I think he was a probably a day two pick, right? I think he came in the third round.
His stock went down, but
Yeah.
you always see about Jalen Hurts is he's always level headed and he has good composure. So coming out, even if he wasn't talked about as much, I think that was a guy that was going to naturally just develop and be okay, and on the NFL level. But yeah, man, seeing him now become a 2-time Super Bowl appearance quarterback is pretty cool.
And he was a controversial pick. Like people were upset that they drafted him behind Wentz instead of getting Wentz more help. And then the idea was, would it be? So he was initially supposed to just be a package quarterback, and then he ended up getting the starting job. And for a while, it seemed like they weren't committed to him as their starter until they kind of went all in, which is really ironic, right? Because Carson Wentz is in this game too. Carson Wentz is a backup for the Chiefs in this game. So there's a lot of ties, right? You have Nick Sirianni, their head coach. His first NFL job was as an assistant for the Chiefs. You have Reed, who of course is the greatest. Would he still be considered the greatest coach in Eagles history? Since Sirianni now has he didn't get them a championship. So I don't know if he still qualifies as the greatest quarterback. I mean, greatest head coach in their history now.
Well, they both went to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, they both went. Well, but someone did win, right? Someone won with
That wasn't Sirianni though. That was
was that yeah, that's him. But yeah, a lot of ties between these two teams. Of course, you have you've got the Kelsey brothers, both being drafted by Reed. Of course, Jason's retired, but still, there's a lot of ties here. I'm really excited for this one though. Personally, it's a clash of styles too.
Right. Shout out to Doug Peterson. That's the coach's name.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah. One thing
does he leap Andy Reid?
If he gets this ring, I think if he gets this ring, technically.
Doug Peterson, I'm saying, he's won the Super Bowl. He's the only Eagles coach that's Super Bowl. So is he ahead of Sirianni?
Definitely ahead of Sirianni.
Because he got the win, right? Against the Patriots, too.
Yeah, no, that puts you ahead. Beating Brady
But if Sirianni wins this one, though, I give it to Sirianni because he would have beaten Patrick Mahomes and he had another appearance.
I agree. Yeah. And I think also he'd be the first coach to win with a mobile quarterback, like truly a mobile. I don't think we've ever had a Super Bowl won by a run first, or not run first, but like a true dominant running quarterback. Like Mahomes, he can run, but it's only because they're afraid of the pass. Um, this is like a run
Yeah, Hurts.
offense. Same thing with a team built around a
That's
running back.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's like a run offense because
Mm-hmm.
Hurts. It's like he's not really he can run and it's bruising, but he doesn't like he's not
He's not
I
like a
wouldn't even
Lamar or a
consider
Vic or anything. Nah.
he's not a scoring quarterback, but short distance he can punish you.
Oh yeah.
And you're right. It's a running offense, which is he's perfect for.
Mm-hmm.
And like at matchups, that's what we're gonna get into that. But
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the 3P factor.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say if Mahomes wins this? Where is he on the GOAT status? Is he right under Brady? Is he neck and neck with Brady, or is he above him?
I think what across all stats, isn't he just right below Brady now? I saw this stat recently. He is more likely to go to a Super Bowl than he is to complete a pass. Like if you look at his career, like that's
Those are
um
the percentages.
yeah, it's so interesting when you think about him as a quarterback. Um
Yeah,
I think so because I think this is something. I think it's twofold, right? So then there's this, and then also for Reed, what this means because this is something that Reed can do that the two greats, Lombardi and Belichick, haven't done too. So I think both of them, this puts them in the GOAT. This I think cements both of them, or at least their full claim to it. I think as long as Reed coaches 3 more years, he's the undisputed GOAT because then he'll have the all-time win record as well, most likely. And I think that or I think this would make him the GOAT. I think this would make Mahomes at least equal because this is something that this means that he's had the greatest prime of any quarterback in NFL history. So that won't be able to be argued. He's like
yeah,
Jordan to me. I think he's the closest to Jordan. Like who there's so many great quarterbacks, and it's just like, well, you just have to think they were in the Mahomes era. When you talk about great players that won because they weren't in they didn't win because they were in the Jordan era, right? Mahomes is like that. Oh, they didn't win. Well, he was in the Mahomes era. That's going to be the exception when you start looking at these guys down the line for the Hall of Fame. They're going to get passes on Super Bowls because they lived in the Mahomes era.
hmm yeah. I think it's an interesting discussion. Anytime you're talking about goats and trying to compare eras, I like to stay out of the comparing eras part and just kind of look at the
Mm-hmm.
player. If you took them out of that era and dropped them in this era with that mindset, with that
Mm-hmm.
fabric, would they be, of course they'd be different physically, but I think it's one of those things when you're talking about brightest flame versus longest flame, you know, with Brady and Mahomes or Jordan and LeBron. I think longevity is one piece, one component of
Mm-hmm.
greatness. Um, so for me, if Mahomes wins this, they right there because for me, Brady got 7 and he did it over different iterations of the team. I mean, there's a 10-year gap.
Mm-hmm.
So that means something to me, but I do think winning 3 in a row, that's going to make Patrick Mahomes, like you said, his prime the highest, like the brightest flame. So I think they'll be neck and neck at that point. And if Mahomes gets anything else after this, in my opinion, he'd be the undisputed GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 3P in modern crazy.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's not just that they're getting the 3P. They're doing it now with these type of restrictions on caps
Mm-hmm.
and financial obligations and all this stuff. So it's been impressive to make it happen. And then when you consider the fact that they won, then they lost a weapon like Tyreek Hill and was
Mm-hmm.
able to come back, do it again and again. That's crazy.
Yeah. He's won with good defenses. He's won with bad defenses. He's won with great weapons. He's won with terrible weapons. It's funny when you think about how short his
Yeah,
career is. He's kind of already won each way that you could imagine someone winning. That's
right.
the weirdest part about it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And
I
that's
think
why I
the
got him
only thing he
already top.
hasn't won with is having a dominant running game. That's the only thing I don't think he's won with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And that's why I got him already there because,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, they've already gone with different types of teams in that short period of time. So
Mm-hmm.
very cool.
I completely agree with you. Um, and I think
But
also for Jalen Hurts too, winning this kind
yeah,
of similar to, well, it's not the same for Stafford because Stafford didn't beat him head to head. Similar like Burrow, right? I think when it's all said and done, you talk about Burrow's Hall of Fame argument. So far, the closest thing I've seen to it is the Eli Manning argument. Eli Manning's best argument, he beat Brady twice.
before anybody did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what before
Yeah.
Foles did it. I think those are the only two quarterbacks to beat him in the Super Bowl. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just think Eli's career is so funny when you think
Oh,
about
it's
it.
crazy. I was reading about because he didn't make it to the hall. They just announced he didn't make it to the hall this year, and that was the
Man,
argument. It's like he's just a very when you think about him, he's an average quarterback. He had a very big fall off. Where I mean, he
he's
has
500 in his career.
500 for his career. He was terrible towards the end of his career. He, I think, is interception lead. He might be the all-time interception leader. He's up there. Several seasons led the league in interceptions.
Yeah, never led it to touchdowns.
Yeah.
But those few times when the Giants and then even those years when they won, they were terrible in the beginning of the season, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of caught fire and kind of rode it into the playoffs.
Yep.
So it's a crazy career because it's pretty average, and then you mess around and beat the greatest quarterback of all and coach of all time twice.
Mm-hmm.
One of those being the undefeated Patriots with Randy Moss on there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact
So
that people don't know?
what's that?
Do you know who their defensive coordinator was?
The Giants
Defensive
coordinator back
coordinator in
then?
that time.
Oh,
Was also you guys head coach for a little bit.
when you say you guys, you talking about the Rams?
Yep.
Who you talking about? Oh, nah.
Spags was the
He co-
defensive coordinator. The
oh,
same. He's considered now the greatest coordinator of all time because I think he has the most championships of any coordinator ever.
yeah,
But he had those same
yeah,
defenses that gave Brady fits to help Eli out, and now those same defenses are helping. Um, Ironically enough, there's a few interesting stats I'll bring up just from the coaching matchup a little bit. Um, did you know that Reed is undefeated against the Eagles' defensive coordinator all time, Vic Fangio? And also, the defenses that Spags runs have typically given fits to Hurts. So those are two things to keep in mind. Hurts is also playing a lot better. He's
okay.
really figuring it out.
While we talking about Hurts and legacies and stuff, who does
Mm.
this Super Bowl win? Who does it mean more for? Patrick Mahomes or Jalen Hurts?
It's a little interesting for each, right? Because for Patrick Mahomes, this is what makes him the GOAT. Like this will be the one that people remember as to why he's the GOAT. Whereas for Jalen Hurts, this win would probably be the cornerstone of his Hall of Fame argument. So like for both of
Hall of
them,
Fame or
yeah. Like if he gets into the Hall, it's gonna be based on a win here.
yeah. If he gets there. Yeah, I think it's more for Jalen Hurts. Huge for Mahomes, right? Because of the three-peat factor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, overall count in Super Bowls, but he's likely to get back. He's won two. I think it means more for Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Being considered the lesser talented, doesn't have a crazy accuracy from the pocket type quarterback. So I think it would mean more for him, especially we talked about it, him coming into the league and how he was perceived back
Mm-hmm.
then. I think it'll be huge for Hurts, I think. But yeah,
I
huge for
also
both
think
guys for real.
um I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but I think it means more for black quarterbacks if Hurts wins. Um, More in the sense that I think Hurts has a style that's a little bit more attributed to what you think of black quarterbacks and how they. It would be like if Lamar won, right? Lamar winning would basically prove a standard type of black quarterback can win instead of like Russ or Mahomes. Not even talking about like color. I mean, that could also be a thing to talk about. Like you haven't had since Doug Williams. I don't think in the modern times we've seen um, a chocolate quarterback win. You know, a darker skinned quarterback win too. So I think when I think about that, kind of like how people were a little bit more accepting of Obama, who's mixed, compared to like a Mahomes. And also running backs. I think this could mean a lot for running backs because if the Eagles win, it proves like had the Ravens made it to the Super Bowl, it would basically against the Eagles, it will prove that the running back is still heavily undervalued. And a win here, I think a win for either still means that because you look at what the Chiefs did from getting Kareem Hunt back and how much that Kareem Hunt Pacheco 1-2 punch has been for them. But Saquon Barkley, it's proving that the running back is valuable.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It would mean a lot for I guess black quarterbacks if Hurts won. Just because you said that, I guess it's more of a cultural thing. But I don't even like putting that label on black quarterbacks that they're this
No.
type of quarterback.
Look at
Yeah,
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's a true pocket quarterback. You got I
right.
think it's CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's fast, but he's a pocket quarterback.
Yeah,
Half and
yeah.
half.
So
It's probably half and half for quarterbacks.
yeah, they just get more opportunity at the position, and
Mm-hmm.
Sean can do with it. But like you said, yeah, the running back is making a return. We see it with Baltimore. But not just Baltimore. Josh Jacobs was great for the Packers this year.
Mm-hmm.
Cook was great for Buffalo this year. And then Saquon, of course, having this year. And Kareem Hunt, like, back from the dead.
My favorite, my all-time. All right, Priest Holmes is my goat, but of this era, I still remember reading the draft profile on Kareem Hunt. You know, Kareem Hunt didn't. I think he might have fumbled maybe once in college football, if at all. 4-year player. Fumbled his first game. Fumbled his first game. He had one of the greatest debuts of all time. But he fumbled his first game with the Chiefs and then just blew up. I mean, you're talking about literally had he not gotten into that trouble, you're talking one, I think had he not gotten in trouble, I think we beat the Patriots. Two, I mean I think we're on like 4 or 5 if he didn't get in trouble. But two, I think that he'd be in the greatest running back of all time conversation, like top 10 running back all time conversation had he not gotten in trouble. He was just a monster.
Yeah.
He was a menace to society. And he wound up ending up on a team where he put up good numbers still, but he was behind Chubb, and Chubb's a better running, like you know what I mean. So it preserved him so he could come back to us and contribute. But yeah, I mean, I love Kareem Hunt, man. That's my guy. I'm still rocking the Pacheco jersey.
Yeah.
I love Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. But we've seen the running backs be able to give offenses more balance. You know, the passing game kind of had some prime years, and then with the defenses all focusing on that, you know, it became important to have a running game now, and not just running game, but now you're starting to see a lot of these the good rushing attacks be aggressive and violent attacks like Philadelphia and Detroit in particular. So it's a new age for the running game.
It makes a lot of sense too. Like how you beat some of these really good quarterbacks. You beat some of these really good quarterbacks by if you don't have an elite quarterback, or even if you do, how do you stop another elite quarterback from beating you? Keeping them off the field. And you look at one of the ways the Chiefs really was able to keep such a good record this year. A lot of it was, okay, we're going to get ahead, and then Kareem Hunt is going, and Abed Pacheco is going to just keep them off the field. And we're going to do a lot of dinks and ducks and A lot of screen passes. That is
Mhm.
one of the big evolutions for the Chiefs. It's like we're just gonna keep you off the field. We know we can get the big plays, but
Mhm.
I think that's a big thing. I think that's what makes Saquon Barkley the most dangerous. Him and um, Derrick Henry. What makes them so dangerous to me is that they can do that, but then have an explosive play that gets you like 60 yards. For the
Yeah.
Chiefs, it's a little different. For the Chiefs, one of our biggest weaknesses was red zone and short yardage plays, like how to get that short yardage first down. Because the Chiefs, Mahomes got injured once on a quarterback sneak, and he has had like two designed runs since then, and neither were quarterback sneaks. That so we've had to come up with all these really creative plays for short yardage. But now having Kareem Hunt, he's a smart back that waits for the offensive line to create holes and then goes through them. Um, so that's how it elevated the Chiefs the most. But when I think about, I'm worried. I'm worried when I think about like a guy like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. The only thing I think we can really do effectively to stop it is we need a 10-point lead. I think as long as we have a 10-point lead, Saquon can be a lot less of a factor.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
I'm really happy for Saquon too. Um, just escaping New York and being able to show his value. Um, really
Yeah.
getting to play for meaningful games.
Um, let's see what we got here. Let's go. Let's go into I guess some of the key things you think the Chiefs should focus on as far as keys to victory.
Mm-hmm. Um, Several things. Some of the key ones I can automatically think of. We have that left guard matchup, which is gonna be undrafted guy who, because Tooney had to kick out to left tackle, that guy's gonna have to go head to head with Carter, and he needs to at
Yeah.
least contain that matchup. I'm sure Tooney will try and give him some help. I'm sure Humphries will try and give him some help. So they'll have to figure that part out. Maybe keep a running back there for blocking reasons. I think that also Spags. People forget Spags doesn't just use the blitz for to rush the passer. He also uses certain blitz packages to stop the run. So I think he's going to disguise a lot of coverages. I think he's going to keep trying to find things. The biggest key I think we saw last week or 2 weeks ago was how he really analyzed a play that was said to be unstoppable and found a way to stop it, even if you don't include the one where people aren't sure did he cross the line or not. They heavily reduced the impact of the tush push. And these guys are the ones that invented the tush push. So if they get too early on, like if they can stop the tush push once or twice early on, the question is, does that mean Philly will start going away from it? Will Philly be more willing to kick field goals? Will Philly be more willing to punt the ball? Because right now they're like, okay, it's close. Tush push third down. Tush push for fourth down. And when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley who can pick up 4 yards, 4 yards first down, 4 yards second down, tush push third down, tush push fourth down. We have to keep them from getting into that type of flow. Um, Also, I think McDuffie's going to do a really good job covering, probably especially covering, I remember his name. I think Devontae Smith. I think I'll do a good
Mhm.
job on him. He's a lockdown corner. The big thing is, I think Jalen Watson's gonna get the AJ Brown assignment because they're similar in build. He had great Pro Football Focus grade this year. He really came into the Snead role. He got hurt for a good portion of the season. Finally came back. He's been elite since he's come back. How he handles that matchup. Can they get into AJ Brown's head? If AJ Brown doesn't get the ball enough, would that get into his head? Dallas Goedert, I think, will be the biggest X factor because our linebackers are not great in coverage. Um, and then as far as the receivers go, I think we just have a really good. It's hard to cover us because we have two 4-2 receivers. One of them's our third string, one's our first string. Not going to be able to double Kelsey. You're not going to be able to double Hopkins. And then as a fourth string receiver, we have a former number one receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster, which I don't think is too different from when Tom Brady had Antonio Brown as his fourth string receiver. He's got a lot of weapons.
Yeah. For me, both teams have skilled players and amazing players in the backfield, quarterback, a halfback. For me, it may sound cliche, but I think it's really gonna come down to the line of scrimmage on both sides, both lines. The big thing I'm looking at is Jalen Carter going up against that left side of the Chiefs offensive line. Yeah, and I actually, I expect Jalen Carter to get a lot of double teams. So I'm actually looking at Jordan Davis because if he sees a lot of single matchups, I'm looking at him to be kind of like a guy that makes some noise and maybe not getting talked about right now. Carter and Davis used to playing alongside each other, of course, at Georgia.
That's a really good point.
Then, yeah, on the other side, Philly's offensive line is so physical and violent at the point of attack. It's going to be an intriguing matchup. Philadelphia likes to make explosive run plays, and it's interesting you mentioned Spagnolia dialing up blitzes for the run. It's going to be interesting if they're going to be able to get him at the point of attack, or if he's going to be able to break tackles and get into the second level. Because to me, the game's going to come down to the Eagles' success running the ball and how explosive they can be on there. Because if they're able to stop him, of course, Jalen Hurts is going to be asked to pass more. And then, to me, that's where the game kind of lives. Philadelphia's defense, I'm expecting to keep Patrick Mahomes under 30 points. But we'll see, man. I think this is a line of scrimmage game. It's going to be going in the trenches.
I think kickers. Yep, so we have a much better kicker. So if we force you guys into field goals, you guys kicker. Sorry, I'm not gonna say you guys. That's not your team. But the Eagles kicker. I know you're like, what? Don't lump me into this. But the Eagles kicker is terrible. He's horrible. He misses a lot of field goals. He misses a lot of extra points. They're going to be looking to go for 2-point conversions. They're going to be looking to go for fourth downs. So Butker's a lot better when it comes to that. He's one of the most clutch kickers in the NFL. So special teams is going to be a big thing. We blocked numerous field goals. We blocked like 3 field goals this year. And we also have a return specialist. I think his name's Nico Amigo. He's half Filipino, half black. Spectacular returner so far. He's been on our practice squad for us for about 2 years now, and he's really making his moment. He's had huge returns all playoffs. So that's kind of like the stuff that you aren't going to expect. It's going to have a big impact on the game. That could be the difference.
Yep. All right. Are we at predictions?
I know you talked a little bit about Jalen Carter. I want to talk a little bit about Joe Thuney. Joe Thuney has been an excellent left tackle for the playoffs. He's the best left guard in the NFL. He can play center. It is so interesting how amazing of a player he is. And I don't think that gets talked about enough. It's really a shame. People thought he was going to get kicked back into left guard. And we would try, because we have an all-star, a former Pro Bowl left tackle who is coming off of injury. And the idea that the thing was, do we finally put him out there, then move Thuney into left guard? I do think they probably practiced it just in case Caliendo starts really losing that matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Thuney get kicked back into left guard.
Yeah. All right. So those are our two sides, two X factors. Predictions. I already know who you're going for. You got
the score is a little bit different. Let me think. Um, I mean, these things tend to be low scoring affairs. I think if the Chiefs win, though, I mean, yes, everyone thinks the Chiefs are close game specialists. Um, I'm going to say it's going to be a little out there. Um, Probably something like 28-17, something like that. I do think the Chiefs
Hmm.
are going to win by 2 scores. I think that's going to be they're either going to win by 2 scores or they're going to be up by 2 scores for the majority of the game.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the ways. That's probably the biggest key to them winning is being up by 2 scores for most of the game.
Man, this is a tough one.
Very tough.
I feel like Philadelphia has the better team, maybe on paper,
Mm-hmm.
and when you look at the screen, the Chiefs have the best player, the better coach, and then just the aura of being back-to-back champions. It's one of those things where you feel crazy if you bet against Patrick Mahomes
Mm-hmm.
after the weekend.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. Might regret this, but I'm gonna just say Eagles win 27-24.
Okay. That's understandable. Now, the only
We'll
thing is that
see.
means you have to get a good field goal from that kicker. I don't know if they'll end up having a good field goal from that kicker. Uh,
Yeah, I'm gonna still mess around and get a short one.
hmm One
It'll
thing
be interesting.
to think about, just a quick thing. So we know they've had some really bad culture issues in this team. Last year they fell apart completely because of culture last year. This year
Mm.
there was one of the players talked about it when they got him on the hot mic, saying stuff he wasn't supposed to. He mentioned that there's some tension between Brown and Hurts. If you remember when the Chiefs lost to the Bengals, if you really looked at when they cut off to the different receivers, you could see Tyreek Hill very much angry he wasn't getting the ball enough. When I mean, had we just fed Kelsey every time, we probably won that game. Um,
In the
my thing,
championship.
yeah, in the conference championship. My thing, that's what I'm keeping an eye on. If AJ Brown gets locked down or ends up not getting the ball as much as he would like, does he start complaining? And then do you see Hurt start forcing the ball more to more to AJ Brown, even if it's not there? Um, that's
That
something.
could be something. It's definitely a story earlier in the year. Seems like they kind of put it to bed, after this whole
They did.
him reading the book on the sideline. I'm gonna go ahead and hit and bet that that part is kind of tempered down.
I hope so.
Um, e- I think even if in this Super Bowl, I just feel like even if he doesn't get the ball, I don't think he probably not gonna make it a big deal. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely gonna be interesting though. If like you said, if he gets bottled up, where the Eagles go if Saquon happen to be getting limited as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like Smith as far as these explosive plays, but he's not really. He doesn't really seem to be a guy that consistently get open
Mm-hmm.
or at least enough. Some days he gets just 2 receptions, that type of thing. So
And if they don't put McDuffie on Brown, if they actually put Watson on Brown, I think Smith becomes a non-factor because McDuffie, that guy's coverage is insane. He's truly a lockdown corner.
yeah,
Um, One thing I wanted to touch on: what's the long-term outlook on these two teams? Um,
well with the Kansas City Chiefs, you got to feel good as long as you got Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he ain't even 30 years old yet.
mm,
So even even at his worst, you have
mm,
him and a guy who seems like he's committed to playing with your team. You got
yep.
to feel good about that. For Philadelphia, I feel like you probably have to feel even more nervous, even though I said they're the better team on paper.
Mm-hmm.
just because your best player on offense is a running back who, on average, they have the shortest careers,
He's been injured before.
and he's been injured before. So I'm a little bit more nervous for Philadelphia's long-term look,
Mm-hmm.
but both teams should still be in the mix for at least the
Mm-hmm.
next 3 years.
Reed say you do at least one more year. The big thing to keep an eye on for them, Spags ever getting another head coaching job. I think that'll impact them a lot. Our cornerback coach getting a defensive coordinator job. Our cornerbacks coach has turned a lot of seventh round, fifth round, sixth round picks into, like Shavarius Ward was a late round pick, and he got him a max deal.
Yeah.
Snead was like a fourth or fifth round pick, got him a max deal. Watson, our second, our one of our outside corners, is a seventh round pick. He is very good at developing these corners. The big turnaround for the Chiefs when you start looking at Spags differently was after we traded, away Hill. We basically went with Spags and said, "What defensive players do you need to fill out your defense?" And we just drafted a ton of guys and said, "We're counting on you and your coordinators, your assistants, to coach them into the perfect players for your defense." I want to mention that draft class has never lost a Super Bowl. They have never lost in the playoffs, that draft class. So you're talking about a very disciplined group. A lot of them were heavy contributors as rookies in the playoffs. So they just have a lot of experience. Um, Seeing what happens to the team if Reed decides to retire, seeing what happens to the team if Kelsey decides to retire. Noah Gray has been filling in nicely for Kelsey. Like he during the regular season takes a load off of him. Wiley we just picked up, so there's just certain things. We have some free agents that could be leaving. Trey Smith's top 3 right guard in the NFL. He's probably looking for a max contract. Our middle linebacker, who's from Missouri, Nick Bolton, probably looking at a huge contract. Our do-it-all safety, Justin Reed, who can also kick. He's going to be looking for a new contract. And we have a ton of safeties already, so he's probably letting him go. That's going to be a thing, figuring out who do we keep. Because we kind of just kicked the can down the road because we knew we were going for a three-peat. So if we win again, is it because we're going for do we start getting our cap into a little bit of mess because we decide let's just see how much we can win before and then start looking to move people after we lose for the first time. So
Yeah, it should be set up pretty nice.
Yeah.
Before we leave, I want to give a shout out to Mr. Doug Williams, who was the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the year 1988, and they put it on John Elway and the Broncos.
There's one more thing I want people to think about too. So back in the day, the 49ers, I think, is who invented it, where they would script out their first 15 to 25 plays to figure out how the defenses are going to react for the rest of the game. That then got picked up by the Packers for Favre, and people forget there was an assistant at the time there, Andy Reid, and then he has picked that up too. So I think it's important to see how the teams respond because defensive coordinators know this too. They also try for the first 15 to 25 plays to not show exactly all the looks that they're going to do because they don't want to give too much information to the Chiefs. They know they're going to be having their feelers out. So keep an eye on the start of the game when the Chiefs first get the ball, too, because that's going to tell us a lot. This is just a shout out for black excellence, black quarterbacks. One thing that I really want to see, I'm not a huge Drake fan. Even though I'm a huge Drake fan, Kendrick Lamar out here for the people, for the culture, so good for him. There's a lot here going on. I think the biggest thing that I'm also looking forward to, besides just another great Chiefs win, is just a win for the culture.
Yeah, should be a good game. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah, any commercials you're looking forward to?
Just good ones.
Yeah. I hope we get some good Kendrick commercials. I hope Kendrick's also taking advantage of getting some cool commercials.
I got a feeling we're gonna see a lot of well, at least a couple of guests surprise
You know,
halftime
SZA. Ooh, I
perform.
want to see Doechii. I want to see Doechii.
For some reason, I'm thinking Kendrick gonna bring out Lil Wayne.
I don't think so. It'd be cool. I'd love to see it, but I don't think
Since
so.
I'm talking about
I
it,
heard
and
they talked recently.
Kendrick's a culture guy.
He is.
I
Um,
understand, but knowing Wayne, he's probably like, nah, I'm cool.
yeah, I don't think he does it. But I'd love to see at least Doechii come out. To me, that'd be really cool. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else I want to see come out. Um, it's a shame. I think in another world, we would literally like in the world where Kendrick decides to get on first person shooter with Drake and J. Cole, and they actually went on that big three tour that they all want the other two wanted them to go on. We could have gotten the big three for the halftime show. That would have been cool. Apparently, Drake's turned down the halftime show like twice now. So,
Yeah,
I'm excited for it. I think the song. I would really love to hear something for Mr. Morales. I would love to see. I highly doubt it, but the song that I would like to see on Mr. Morales track list. I do not expect he would do this, but the song I would like him to play. Again, Auntie Diaries. I think with all of the hate against trans people right now, um, not being able to get passports, losing their rights, there's only one gender. All this logic, all this hate that we're seeing right now. Um, One of my favorite songs, track 15 on Mr. Morales, Auntie Diaries, where he talks about his trans auntie. Um, I would love for him to play that.
is he supposed to perform, or you just? Is there like a rumor that
No, no, that's just one of his songs. That's just one of the songs that he's done. It was one of the songs from his last album, and I think
Got
that would be really cool to see him perform that song at the Super Bowl. I highly doubt he does though. Um, yeah, Auntie Diaries. Lamar recollects a story concerning his uncle and cousin, who are both transgender, while referencing issues regarding societal and religious views of gay and transgender individuals who associate with the LGBTQ plus community. The eighth track and then there's okay, yeah. Now I also would like to see "We Cry Together," the argument by Kendrick Lamar and Taylor Page. That's another one that I would love to hear. But that's my favorite Kendrick album for real. I don't think we'll get a lot of stuff from it, but I would love to see it.
Well, we know what we're guaranteed to get, not like us.
I think it's gonna be
Anything
there's
else?
gonna be some stuff edited out for it.
We
Uh
definitely gonna hear that.
huh.
Man. Yep.
It's
Yep.
not too different though. I mean, Drake went out and did a concert where he made fun of Meek Mill after their rap beef. So it's not that different. I know the different context is the defamation portion of it. That's a different context of it.
I'm just saying, just the fact that it's song of the year,
Yeah.
really heard it everywhere. You just know you're gonna hear that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the over on that? Like,
Cool. That's not a bet I'm willing to take.
that you heard that?
I mean, that's not a bet I'm not willing to bet on something like that. I'm sure though, even if it's like a line, I'm curious with all the legal stuff around, like how it impacts. I think if nothing else, it gets referenced or slightly edited, or there's gonna be certain things that he directly doesn't say.
No, I don't think he's gonna perform. I just mean, you know how they turn when they DJ in their sets.
Yeah. We'll definitely get something like that for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. We talk about him as such a mover of the culture, and not too different from when Jay-Z said that he's done with the NFL. The question is, does he say something? Is he gonna play anything from To Pimp a Butterfly? Especially, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but with all this stuff with with people being there and with stuff being taken out of the end zone. Does he use this as a message? I would like to see if he's really going to say something or do something for the culture. I would like to see him make a statement instead of making this about the rap beef. I would love to see this be a statement on Black people and, like I said, LGBTQ people in the world that we live in. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he'll focus on the rap beef.
Yeah,
For me, that's over. Like,
it is.
that's over with.
Mm-hmm. Also, getting a new Drake album on Valentine's Day. That Drake Party Next Door album.
Drizzy.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Or if he brings Future on for like that. That'd be if he wants to do it. If he wants to talk about it without fully talking about it, just bring out Future for like that and put the and do your verse off like that. That's probably the cleanest way to do it.
No. I don't even think he's trying to get nothing off. He's just playing it for the sake that it's so popular.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm so excited for tomorrow, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I think about my grandfather. David Porter Sr., longtime doctor in the community in Kansas City at Children's Mercy, his own private practice. I think about how big of a Chiefs fan he was, how big of a Royals fan, and he passed actually right before the Royals won the World Series and right before the second era of Chiefs football. I still go bring out typically I go get like a COVID mask or a piece of memorabilia from the Chiefs or the Royals wins, and I go put those on his grave. So shout out to my grandfather, because I know he is chilling in heaven watching all these Super Bowls, just living his best life. So shout out to you.
Right on. All right, y'all.
Yeah. And one last shout out to Papa Collins, my father-in-law, for I know he's the biggest Chiefs fan I know at this point, and I know he is extremely excited. He's got a truck that's got a huge Chiefs flag on the back. He makes Chiefs merch. So shout out to Papa Collins. Hit me up if you're looking for Chiefs merch. He's got it, and yeah.
Yeah. I officially have no dog in this race.
Oh, that's the best. I love when there's a series and I have no dog in it. I just want to see a good game. I want to see something close. I want to see the overtimes.
Yeah,
me on the other hand, I'm like, oh,
classic.
Mm-hmm. That Chiefs Bills game was bad for my anxiety. Oh. Oh yeah, I'm old. I'm over 30 now. I don't need any game that gets my heart rate moving. I need this game to be close. To be good enough. Like, and my grandma's a huge Chiefs fan, and she feels like she's bad luck, so she hasn't watched the games. She's also a big Heat fan, and I call her when there's 5 minutes left in the game and tell her to turn the recording on so that she can watch back the last 5 minutes. So, shout out to you, Grammy. 5 minutes left. We're gonna be ahead. You're gonna get to watch the whole ceremony. Big Chiefs win. 28-17.
And if you're not up, just wait till you're up.
Mm-hmm. And we're back at it again. You got any last words?
Nope, that's it. Thanks for chilling out with us. Another episode. Be back soon next week. Continue to talk about the basketball season. We'll probably recap the Super Bowl in this NFL season, and then look forward to the second half of the NBA season.
Yeah, and we got All-Star Weekend coming up too. So, so thanks for stopping by. This is the season ticket with your co-hosts Andrew and Jibril, and you already know it's your home team every day. And like and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. Shout outs to Randy Troy, the YouTuber that came up with that. Completely jacked.
Thanks, y'all.